Hello everyone, welcome to our annual meeting of Journal of International Students. We have scheduled this event for 60 minutes.
Great. It's so wonderful to see so many faces, so many names that I've seen your manuscripts, your work, you've served on our board. You really are the community that we're here today. We talk about this like it's a meeting, but really it's a community. And one of the things I'm really most proud of about the journal is that we're an inclusive community. This is probably the most important chapter we've ever written in the journal, what we're going to see happening this year. The term critical conversations is not just a tagline. It's not just a fancy title. It is a complete philosophy. Everybody, where the journal was just over 10 years ago. This is what the website looked like. If you see, we were proud that we had 3,000 visitors to the website. That's 3,000 views, not even 3,000 visitors. When the website was just born out of a vision that there needed to be some important, critical conversations about international students. As we were seeing mobility increase, the journal was really founded on this idea that we need to have critical conversations, and that continues to be our mission. Our mission really is to actively speak to the most consequential conversations in international education. We also have a new collections that involve critical research that we highlight on our website, special issues in languages outside of English that tends to be the dominant language in academic publishing, new book series and opportunities for a new type of global conference. So let's look at some of the things that we're doing with the aims and scope. Well, we've come a long way from having just 3,000 views of our website in that early years. Now we have close to 500,000 unique sessions on our website, almost 150,000 unique visitors every year, about 8,000 individuals who are active subscribers, clicking on our emails, engaging with our research, over 4,000 authors, readers, and reviewers that are registered on our website. And as Krishna said, almost 1,000 manuscripts that we go through every single year. This wouldn't be possible except for the amazing members of our editorial team who are here today. I am proud to say, and I hope you repeat it on social media and around the world, that our journal is now the most cited journal in international education. You can see year after year, our rankings on the journal, Google Scholar have increased, which reflect the number of citations our journal is getting relative to other peer journals in the field. But I want to move quickly from this slide because that is not the headline I want you to leave with tonight. So the next slide highlights what we care about, because when we think about impact, we need to think about impact in a much broader way. We need to be thinking about impact in a way that considers diversity and inclusion. One of the things we're going to highlight tonight is the many ways in which the Google Scholar algorithm is broken. And we can work very diligently on our part, not just academic publishing that is funded primarily through corporate interests and the Google Scholar algorithm, but we are working very diligently to create an alternative model, an alternative paradigm, alternative philosophy, and we invite you to be a part of that. And so if you look at who are our authors, who are the people that are publishing our journal, you'll see that it's people from across the world, everywhere from South Africa to Thailand to Turkey to Pakistan to Norway, New Zealand, Iran, Italy, Japan, Laos, Brazil, China, Egypt, Finland, Germany, Mexico, all around the world. That's who is a part of this global community. We're really a global movement, if you want to think about it. These are the authors who've just been published in the journal the last 2 years. That I would highlight is we are not in an ordinary time in international education. And I say this with great somberness. This is not a time to be talking about metrics, to be talking about the normal types of impact factors and the kinds of conventional academic conversations that have been had for generations. This is a time when humanity faces an existential crisis. In fact, multiple existential crises. The global pandemic represented an existential crisis, and we faced many more of these. Noam Chomsky, who delivered the keynote address at the Star Scholars Global Conference last year, said this is the last generation that will face global climate change. Either this generation will face global climate change, or this will be the last generation. And he charged us, Krista, myself, and everyone who attended the conference, that we are at a moment where human beings have to determine whether they have the moral and intellectual capacity to join together, to cooperate, to overcome the existential problems that are global in character. That's why so much of what we're going to be doing is going to be focusing on high impact cross-border research, telling digital stories so that our research has impact, and making sure we're uplifting new generations of scholars. As you'll see again and time and again, the Google algorithm highlights old generations, people with already existing citations. We're looking to lift up new voices, and you'll hear some ways that we're doing that and how you can participate. That's next slide. We asked our readers, what conversations were you interested in? And we were very happy to see that our readers are interested. Over 45% of our readers are interested in topics like sustainability, climate change, building ecological consciousness, efforts to decolonize the curriculum, decolonize the university, promote Indigenous perspectives, and work towards reconciliation of historic colonial wrongs that have been had. They're very interested in virtual mobility, exchange online learning, immigration policies that are fair and equitable and that support human rights, cross-cultural mental health and emotional well-being, and the importance of transnational lives, employment, and careers. I'm so glad Lee Tran is a part here tonight. She's done such important work in this area. Next slide. So we've completely revamped our aims and scope, and this is on our website, and you can see it, but I want to highlight that this is not just a document that lives on our website. This is going to frame everything that we do, from the way we organize our editorial team, to the special issues that we publish, to the types of research that we hope to promote, including systemic reforms to advance racial justice, intersectional approaches to language, culture, and identity, employment, social mobility, and multinational careers, ethical internationalization for greater inclusion and success. Hans DeWitt wrote a wonderful essay in our 10th anniversary series talking about the importance of ethical internationalization and to not publish together or work together. We'd like to prioritize collaboration across borders and across generations. Scholarship that draws on underutilized theories, methodologies, and frameworks. We can see this if you visit our Twitter feed or LinkedIn. You can see that one of our recent authors got an award for their scholarship already as they talk about the embodiment of racism. And you can see that in the special issue that we published on critical internationalization studies. And then I'm going to turn it over to Krishna Vista to talk to us about our special issues this year and the upcoming years.
Thank you, Dr. Glass. Last year was our special year as we celebrated our 10th anniversary. We had 3 additional special issues on the top of our regular issues. So one of the busiest year during this pandemic. So we are very proud to welcome non-English edition. That was one of the recommendations we received back in 2019 annual meeting. We already published 2 special issues. These are great. They represent the issues and challenges that we have noticed during this global disruption. The call for chapters for our upcoming special issue, lived experience in an era of unprecedented uncertainty and challenges. Then there is another call for paper, virtual accents, and Dr. Glass is one of the editors for this special issues. If you visit our website, you will find additional information guidelines for this particular volume that we have proposed. To see some of our announcement. These are scheduled depending on the country, the region you are. You will receive the announcement, the focus of the research topics. Then it takes to the next segment here related to the Routledge studies in global student mobility. This is one of the fascinating projects that we came up a few years ago, and we collaborated with 3 different institutions, including Open Journals in Education, Journal of International Student, and Star Scholar Network. And this is a joint publication with Taylor and Francis. In this particular series, we welcome new proposals, the topics related to student mobility, international education in K-12 and higher education. And also we are very proud and fortunate to work with our amazing scholar all over the world. So Star Scholar has also published 4 independent titles, and these are broader topics and themes of international education.
I'm Ravi Amigan with the University of Delaware, and as you've just heard, this book is entitled Cross-Cultural Narratives, Stories and Experiences of International Students. If you haven't had a chance to download an open access copy, you can do so on the Star Scholars Network's website. As the title suggests, it's a publication that showcases a selection of essays from hundreds of stories that international students wrote as part of an annual essay contest hosted by my institution, the University of Delaware. The book captures student narratives and reflections on intercultural encounters, expectations, and their experiences in their new campus and university surroundings. So
again, as we think about impact is larger than just metrics, about impact about achieving global change through cross-border research, but also more effective storytelling that will influence the change that's necessary.
Where we can engage the biggest part of the audience, but we're also on LinkedIn and on Facebook. So this is just a few examples of how our authors and our readers interact with each other. You can tag us, you can share your research with us, you can share your research with the audience. Again, just to give you a little bit of an idea of the ways that our authors and our readers interact with us.
Great, thanks so much, Sarah. And Sarah has been phenomenal. She's a doctoral student at Texas Tech University that works with one of our assistant editors, Hugo Garcia. She has been fantastic at building community. One of the things I would say is I want to highlight that we really do try to be so much more than a journal. We try to create community around these topics, and we try to facilitate conversations around these topics. So all these initiatives are really designed to build community, create community, and facilitate conversation. Our hope really is that every article in the journal isn't the end of the conversation. It really is the beginning of new kinds of conversations. And that's what our global scholar stories and our digital storytelling initiatives are really about. How can we create interfaces, opportunities, utilize digital technologies that bring people closer together, authors closer to readers, readers closer to authors, and our community closer to each other. People who are international educators in the field with researchers who are doing critical research in the field. And Auska, who's a new doctoral student at Boston College, will be spearheading an audio storytelling initiative that we're calling Global Scholar Stories.
If you could, one, again, support us to create a safe space for authentic personal storytelling. And it'll be great if you like the story, show that as a like, or share our future episodes via your social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, what have you.
We're really fortunate to have Auska, who went to who had some special training at Harvard University when she was a graduate student there about using stories to translate research to practice, and also the importance of stories and mentorship. I see people commenting in the chat box. Thanks for saying that, Gopal. I really appreciate that. We're going to have our guest speakers join us any second, and we have a few things we want to share with you before we invite our guest speakers. We also recognize excellence in peer review, and I'll just go through these next three slides. Excellence in peer review, the Editor's Choice Award, and then finally Distinguished Service Award. We recognize because we know the importance and often that the review process goes unrewarded, we make sure that we reward those people who are faithful reviewers of the journal. We give them special honors and accolades that they can include in their promotion and tenure materials. Christian and I probably write one letter a week to different committees and offices to thank people who are serving the journal. The final thing we want to share is something about the Star Scholars Network. You might not wonder, what does the Star Scholars Network, what does that have to do with the Journal of International Students? Well, the way I'd like you to think about it is, well, what does Google have to do with Alphabet? We're very happy that we'll be able to again celebrate the A. Noam Chomsky Global Connections Awards. This conference is hosted by our partner OP Jindal Global University. It's also generously sponsored by the Association of American Colleges and Universities, one of the top associations in Washington, D.C., as well as a generous gold level sponsorship of Morgan State University, who's providing funding so that we can host the conference.
The journal, especially how inclusive it is for early career researcher and doctoral candidates.
international students is such a fascinating and rich topic, right? And I still remember my first article with JIS, and it was the early days, and I sent it in, and it was to do with international students and digitality, which really no one was talking about at the time. I think this was Krish. It was like 2012. God, 9 years ago. We're not getting any younger, are we? I still remember talking to Krish on Christmas Day, that negotiating when the paper is going to come out, and that paper is one of my most cited today. So, and I really thank GIS for that, because having something that's open access about an emerging topic was so important. Is still very important, and it's so heartening listening to the both of you talking, Chris and Krish. That's a rap group your name somehow or other. The KNC.
There are many people that are on our team that I want to acknowledge, or even here tonight. I saw many of their names. I saw Jasper here, Cindy Ann Rose Redwood, Christina Yao, Li Zhang, Ming-Chi Lee, Nelson Brunson, Robert Cohen, Ken Dai, Hugo Garcia, Ying Ma, Charles Matthias, and many other people who've joined us. Cora Ling Su, who's been really critical. We thank our wonderful editorial team, our assistant editors as well, that come from across the world. And this will continue to further diversify year to year. I think you're going to see an exciting new group of assistant editors that, again, are aligned with our Critical Conversations series. We've provided some special invites to scholars that we think will diversify the geographic and epistemological perspectives on our team. And then finally, I do want to thank the last slide here, the many members of our advisory board, our global partners, the Star Scholars Network, of course, and our advisory board members who are a part of that as well, many of whom are also here tonight. We're a part of the Comparative and International Education Study Abroad and International Student SIG that is generous in providing an academic home for the journal. So we have an affiliation with an excellent academic system. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.